everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today we're going to be playing some Vynnset. So Vynnset is a hero that I think has a lot of complicated sequencing like Zen, and is just a very hard hero to master, so I wanted to kind of give her a shot for the upcoming kind of Proquest season. So this list is from Peter Budenzik, Sao Paulo 5th. It's a pretty solid list, just got a lot of your normal Vynnset stuff, just a very defensive package, that kind of thing. Wait, what was that? Yeah, but anyways, we're going to kind of play this list. Again, we don't know how he's sideboarding, but I'm going to try to kind of make my best effort to kind of guess how he's sideboarding. I imagine like some of the stuff like Tear Through the Portals and the Revel and Runebloods are maybe sideboard. And I want to just kind of use this list as a baseline to kind of like figure out how to play Vynnset and just also kind of like learn the play. Wait, oh, what? Keegan? Hey everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad for real this time, and this time we're actually going to be playing some Kano. So Kano is a hero that Tegan's trying to convince me to play for the upcoming kind of like other remaining Proquest, and I'm kind of interested in learning at least a little bit about Kano. I don't think we've really played a ton of him on the channel. I think Tegan might have played some like early Kano gameplay. But yeah, I wanted to kind of give him a shot because I think he's got kind of an interesting matchup spread. So one weird thing about Kano is we did lose two pretty good matchups. Like I think the Enigma matchup was like pretty all right, and then also the Zen matchup was pretty good for Kano. So losing two good matchups doesn't feel great for a deck, but I think the deck is still solid overall in general. It seems like there's kind of like a lot of defensive decks going around, and I feel like Kano does eat defensive decks alive. Just being able to kind of like go over the top with arcane damage, you're not going to be able to like de-react any of this. That to me is kind of like very appealing, so I wanted to kind of give him a shot here. Yeah, so this variation of Kano comes from Blazing for Lethal, and Blazing for Lethal is a very good Kano player, probably one of the better Kano players in the community. I've dodged him on Talishar on more than one occasion. And I want to try to play his deck list because he's kind of like an expert of the deck. I don't think I can really... for Kano, there's not really a ton of like deck building variation, but I'm going to basically be playing a modified version of his list with Tegan's kind of recommendations, because Tegan also plays a fair amount of Kano, and I trust their suggestions as well. But yeah, this is the ICBM list. So the ICBM list is basically trying to do one thing, which is to resolve a wildfire. And then you're going to basically use your extenders, like your Open the Floodgates and your Overflow the Aether Wells, to gain additional resources, whether that's drawing two cards or whether that's getting two resources, to basically go wider on the chain, so then eventually you can finish on a Blazing Aether to kind of like kill your opponent. So this variation of the list is very interesting because you're running a lot of yellows or a lot of blues. You're also running like clarity potions as just extra potions. The changes that Tegan suggested was to kind of like go down on a clarity potion, because 3 clarity potion is a lot of clarity potion. It does tend to kind of brick you as well. And Tegan went up on, I think, like a Destructive Aether Tide and maybe down like an Aether Arc or something. I think that's like the main difference between Tegan's list and Blazing for Lethal's list. And then in the sideboard, this is actually the only 1-for-4s we have available at the current moment. So we don't have an extra Photon Slicing, we don't have an extra Quickening, but we do have 2 extra Internal Infernos, which also are extended art. So Tegan's requiring me that I basically use this weird split of 1-for-4s. Although that being said, the 1-for-4s don't really matter a ton here. These are mostly just for the stat line to kind of play in more of a big spell package with Waning Moons for some of the more kind of like defensive matchups like Burdens and Florian. And yeah, that's gonna basically be the list. There's not really a ton to talk about with this list because it's just kind of like a good Kano list. But it's a lot more kind of like all in on the wildfire turn, which is kind of how you win with this deck. Which I think is probably for the best, right? Just having the ability to go super wide on wildfire, I think, is worth the deck building cost of running a bunch of cards that are not super optimal, on their own, right? You're basically just trying to set up for a one-turn combo code. Yeah, so with that, let's go ahead and see if we can get some games. Full disclaimer right now, I'm not going to have enough practice to be like an expert Kano at this point. I do just want to get some reps, try to figure out like if I can play this deck semi-competently, and also just try to get some reps for the play patterns and see if I can actually pilot this at a Proquest, because I think it is a very challenging deck to pilot. Lots of things to think about, and it's very different, I guess, kind of a far cry from Zen, which is more of like a mid-range deck. So I'm going to try to get in the combo mindset and see how well we do. So let's go ahead and grab some games. All right, so we got in Uzuri. Let's go first into Uzuri. Oh, it's Simon. Hello. Do we even have an Uzuri matchup? It's a new matchup, basically. Yeah, we can do that. Sure. So Simon is a former local here. I'm curious to see what he's got cooked up for his sideboard. Okay, we got AB2 Spellvoid 2. First things first, when playing Kano, is you always want to make sure you're donning your wizard hat. If you don't own like a giant wizard hat, I'd recommend you probably avoid this deck. It's definitely a little bit hard without it. All right, let's see what there's to see. Okay, so we got a Kindle on top. Not ideal. Kind of want to just send a little bit of arcane damage. We could also just filter here. Kind of fine with just filtering maybe, and then just trying to arsenal the Sonic Boom. I think that's also acceptable. I don't really want to send anything at them because their hand could be kind of bad. So people just go ahead and pass. All right, we got Kindle Eye Lesson. Pretty good stuff here. All right, starting out with an Art of Zar body. I'm assuming that maybe they're just going to stealth something in off of Uzuri, which does make sense. Could double block here if we really wanted to. I don't think that's wrong. Could be fine. Could also just get hit by this. I don't really have a super strong preference, but I guess I do want to arsenal the Kindle, so maybe we do just block 6 on this. Kind of curious what he'll do. Well, maybe just pass. Seems good to me. Interesting. So I'm wondering if he did have a stealth attack to actually swap in there. All right, let's go ahead and pitch to Eye, see what there's to see. All right, so we got an Open the Floodgates on the top. He has AB2. Could get an extra Aether Arc value, but it's not really that insane, I feel like. Let's maybe just double bottom. Just try to dig towards Wildfire, maybe. Then maybe just follow up with Sonic Boom here. See if we can like strip some cards from his hand. Ooh, Shelter is not bad. Getting extra point of prevention there. Kind of okay with that though. A little bit. All right, top of the deck is Energy Potion. That's pretty good for next turn. Go ahead and arsenal the Kindle. Okay. Someone didn't shuffle. Oh no, someone did not shuffle. Okay. How bad is this? If we well, I don't want all my energy potions going away, obviously. I also don't want all my gazes going away. I feel like the correct answer to this might unironically just be block 9 on this and then just play a knee pot. If I block 6, what if this is like Flick Knives, Just a Nick plus some other react? I think I'm maybe supposed to do this. I feel like I'm at least supposed to block with 2 of them. But like we play around Shred this way as well. We are like a little bit at risk of fatigue, but like we do get to play on knee pot here, so I think it's kind of fine. Right, another Bonds. Interesting. We could ironically just get hit by this and then just see what there is to see at the top as they like just swap it or do whatever to it. Obviously, I don't want any of these to go away, but I think we can just like banish Kano to kind of avoid the Bonds of Agony effect. I think that's kind of reasonable. Maybe I should have done that last turn, honestly. Like maybe it was better there to actually just like keep pitching in the Kano, but then our energy potion is, I guess, at risk. So I didn't really want that. All right, taking up the mantle on another Bonds of Agony, I assume. Sure, so we got 2 reacts here. Maybe. All right, now we're gonna take up the mantle, hitting. It's just another Bonds, right? Makes sense to me. All right, coming in for 10. Let's see what there is to see. So let's overpitch a little bit here and just see what's on top. All right, Open the Floodgates is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad either. I think we can do one more Kano. And just try to dodge this Bonds of Agony effect, I think is fine. Clarity Potion is also pretty good. So we'll play out the Clarity Potion. I think we're just pumping on Spindle, sending Floodgates, and then if they let us draw cards, we might be able to activate Kano again. Right, finish on the Floodgates. Still have Kindle in Arsenal, which is pretty good. And it looks like he's going to pull Tunic to just kind of pay into the AB, which makes sense. Pitching a Tarantula Toxin, also pretty good. So Bonds of Agony hits. They'll get a Shuffle on us, which is fine. But at least they're not banishing anything from hand, and we developed out a Clarity Potion. I think that's pretty reasonable. And I think here we'll just pass back. Ooh, double Kindle, huh? I feel like the question here is like whether or not I'm supposed to go for it. I feel like double Kindle is like actually quite risky, but we do have the Clarity Potion, I guess. Maybe we're supposed to just see what they do here off of the pain in the backside. I feel like committing to blocking is maybe not in our best interest. There's a chance this double Kindle just like whiffs horribly because we haven't seen the Wildfire yet, but there is like a pretty likely chance that we draw into it, or that we find it. Because we have functionally, how many looks? Like 4 or 5 looks, I feel like. Maybe even more. Because we have at least 2 from here, and then we have like Kano off the top. I don't know. Alright, Persuasive is fine here. Do we want to just eat this? Probably. Could obviously swap. Definitely something to think about a little bit. I know Uzuri swap. What does that mean? I feel like we might just want to get hit by this and just try to find Wildfire, because I feel like if we commit to this double Kindle, it might not work in our best interest, I feel like. Maybe we'll pass reacts here, and then maybe we are just supposed to go for the double Kindle. If we don't find Wildfire, this might not even be the end of the world. So let's go ahead and Kano. Kano once. We'll Kano one more time. Let's Kindle. And then do we want a Clarity Potion? Is it okay to use 1 Clarity Potion here? Just to see what there is to see and make sure we're not breaking on Kindle. I think that might be okay. So let's go ahead and banish. We should have probably done this first. Okay. So we have Destructive on top. We have an Aether Wildfire. All right, so this works out. I think I probably should have popped the Clarity Potion before doing all this, just to see what there is to see. So that's definitely like a missequencing thing, but I think this still works out for us. Let's go ahead and submit the opt here. Then we let the Kindle resolve. We then activate Kano one more time. Because we want that thing on top. Well, actually, we let this resolve, I think, right? So we banish that. Now, so how does Kindle work? The next time you deal arcane damage this turn, deal that much +1. So we actually cast the Wildfire here, right? So we can Crucible, cast Wildfire, and then Kindle in response. I think this works. So draw the blue. That's nice. Was there a way we could have let the other Kano resolve? Maybe. Let's go ahead and pay into the Metacarpus now. I feel like I'm butchering this somehow. I'm not entirely sure how. 8 damage Wildfire is not bad, though. Especially with 2 reds in hand. Alright, so now let's let this Kano resolve and see what there is. Prog is not necessarily the best thing, but it's also not terrible. Let's Prog first and just see what there's to see on top, because this is almost certainly going to opt. Alright, so we got an Overflow on top. That's good. I think that's good. So we'll go ahead and top that. It's not like blazing, but that's okay, I think. We're still going to get at least 1 more look if we just send it here. So not paying, hit with it for 9. We'll gain 2 resources. And then we can crack an E-Pot here and just hope to find another spell. I wonder if this is too greedy, or if maybe we should have just stopped after that point. Well, let's go ahead and activate Kano one more time. Ooh, open the floodgates. That will continue to extend the turn. So let's go ahead and Spellfire Cloak, and then just send that as well. I feel like I butchered this, but it's somehow working out, so I can't be too upset, I guess. And okay, thank you for being a good sport, Simon. Okay, so we had blue and red overflow off the top. Then we could send another overflow. Okay, I don't know if I played that turn the best. I probably didn't, but I think that our heart was in the right place. I think that the double kindle there was maybe worth just going for. Even if we like didn't hit wildfire, I think it was still potentially okay. But I think that like there's obviously like missequencing on that turn. Like I think that we had an opportunity to use the clarity potion ahead of time just so that we were like kind of knowing what we were doing before we were kindling. That's definitely a big one. We did get fortunate that our like top of our deck was like pretty good, but if the top of our deck wasn't very good, then I'm not entirely sure what the kindles were doing. We didn't actually, I think, kill there because like I think we just had another overflow that was coming that we're gonna like storm striders or whatever. So maybe that doesn't fully kill. We could have also like hatted activate Kano, hat, drawn into Kindle, drawn into this. I feel like there are a lot of lines that turn that actually would have probably done something comparable at least. Okay, that was definitely a little bit of a rusty game. I'm not gonna lie. I think that there maybe were like some opportunities to kind of optimize that game a little bit. Let's go ahead and see if we can get another one though. All right, we got Dio. We definitely want to go first into Dio. And then what is our Dio board? I think it's just mech, right? Yeah, I think it's just our normal 60. Spellfire Cloak. All seems good. This is a little bit of a tougher matchup for what I understand, or at least it used to be a pretty tough matchup because Dio tends to spit out a lot of damage, but we do have the die roll here, which is pretty significant. All right, so Kindle is definitely going to try to be our arsenal target here. They are on AB3, important to note. So let's go ahead and start digging. Probably just going to try to deny filtering here, and I think we want to just keep that as soon as possible, so we're not going to manage here. And I think that we're just going to activate Kano maybe one more time and then still not banish and then just deny filtering as much as possible here. So now we got Kindle in Arsenal and we can wildfire basically whenever we want, which is really nice. Finding wildfire early in this matchup is what Tegan told me to do. A long time ago, that's what Tegan told me to do. That's basically what she said this draft for this matchup was. So hoping to kind of execute on that here. All right, coming with the throttle. No pitch. Interesting. Or no block. I almost wonder if we're trying to set up for something better here, but we also don't have to. Like, they could AB3 max, and that's kind of fine. I feel like we're supposed to just send it off here anyways. Just let them do whatever. And I think we're probably just going to go for it. So let's Kano, hit an Aether Flare, and then let's Kano one more time. Then we're going to pitch to Crucible, I think. And then let the Crucible resolve. Hat. Right, find Eye, which is really good. So we'll top that Wildfire. Let it get banished to Kano. Cool. Then we Kano one more time. Could have actually... Oh, sorry, hold on. Let me... Actually... I think we're actually supposed to pitch into Wildfire maybe first, but I guess the question is, are we trying to banish off the top with Kano one more time, or are we trying to do something else? I think we might be able to afford one more Kano because we do have the Kindle in Arsenal, so it's pretty likely we're going to be able to sculpt a resource card here. So let's go ahead and do that first. Let's let the Eye resolve first. Ooh, Floodgates is really good. So we want to keep the Clarity Potion on top as a blue. So I think this is perfect, right? We just Clarity Potion on top. That's what we're kindling into. Get a blue, and then we also get a Floodgates, which is really good. So let's submit the opt like this. Kindle now, since we have no cards in hand. Draw the blue. Let this Kano resolve. So we get the other open the Floodgates. And then we have 5 resources currently, 6 resources if we can count the Spellfire Cloak. We need 5 resources in total here, so we can afford to pay 1 into the Metacarpus if we want, which I think is what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and pay 1 here. We still have the Spellfire Cloak, so we're coming in for 7. And then it looks like they are going to be able to AB3, which is A-okay with me. Let's go ahead and then send the Flare in next. So we'll not pay into this one. This will also amp 5, which is really good. And then we'll pop the Spellfire Cloak to get that extra resource and then send in Floodgates as well. So not doing anything. This feels like it's a little bit greedy, but it's also kind of fine. So this wildfire will come in for an extra 8 if we want to storm striders in. We could also just like set up for another combo kill. So maybe what we're actually trying to do is just pitch the Gaze the Edges to try to find something on top, and we find another Gaze the Edges. That's actually kind of nuts. So now let's bottom destructive. Keep the overflow on top. Could actually keep both on top realistically because we want to draw into blues next turn just to set up the kill with the storm striders. So I think this is fine. Let's go ahead and banish the overflow here. What do we put on top again? I forget. Did we put a destructive on top? All right, I immediately goldfished and forgot what exactly is on top of my deck. I don't think it's worth getting rid of the wildfire because we can just set up like another wildfire turn, right? Like we don't need to kill them here. We have time, I think. If anything, we should have paid maybe 1 extra in that Metacarpus. So that's like maybe a small miss there, but I think this is still okay. So I think we left a destructive on top, right? So we'll pass here. We should be drawing into destructive. Yeah, okay. So I think this is still fine. I feel like I maybe should have gone a little bit, like, I feel like I maybe should have used another Metacarpus there. That's definitely, I think... Oh, no, I couldn't use a Metacarpus because it was overflow, right? Yeah, I couldn't have used a Metacarpus there because it was overflow. So the 2 resources I gained after the spell did damage, so there wasn't like really a missed opportunity for overflow. I forgot that's the card that we played last. Interesting. All right, well, we have another Kindle Wildfire hand. We still just have Storm Striders up, so like, I feel like our chances here are quite high. I'll give them a no problem. But I think that was like pretty okay. Again, I'm still not like a Kano expert. I have played the deck in years past, but I've not really like committed super hard to it. So I'm not like the best Kano sequencer of all time. I think there's definitely a lot of things that I will get better at as I kind of play the deck, but I think I'm like I feel like my Kano brain is very, very rough at this point, right? I feel like I know kind of what to do, but I feel like some of the minor like optimization stuff I'm not necessarily picking up on just yet. All right, so it seems like they're gonna get the backup protocol right. I'm curious if they're gonna crank here. All right, just sending in symbiosis shots, so they are gonna crank. They don't have an action point after this. I feel like we don't need to kill them like right now. We can wait another turn, and it's probably also fine. Because they have 3 floating. Like, I don't feel like the incentive is there to just pop off right now. I feel like we'll just like pitch into some resources this turn. So let's go ahead and Kano, see what there is to see on top. Could just randomly hit some spells that could be useful. All right, Destructive's not bad. So that means we can potentially take some cards out of them here. Let's go ahead and pump with the Overflow, and then send Destructive plus Overflow. So this will demand at least 1 card from their hand. If it's a resource card, we're happy with that. Because the lower they are on the resource cards the next turn, then the better our Wildfire gets. They also might be wanting to back up. Oh, they're just going to let their max speed go. That's really good for us, I think. And then we'll follow up with the Overflow here. Just force them to commit to something while we kind of just have them almost in like a checkmate kind of position here. I say that, and then I'm going to draw like a hand of like 3 reds, and then we're not going to be able to kill them. But I think we're still in a pretty good spot here. All right, Penetration Script I do like to see. So what are they getting here? Getting a Throttle. So they're going to have at least maybe 1 other resource card if their hand is good. All right, this hand is like perfect Wildfire hand, I think. We got the Kindle. We got enough resources for days, right? And then we also just have Kindle for more gas, right? I think this is pretty good. As long as we don't brick off like I or Will on top, then we're probably in pretty good shape. We don't have Pat, which is a little bit concerning. So what we might actually want to do here, because like our chances of bricking are semi-high, is maybe we just want to like see what there is to see first and then go for the Wildfire. right, so they are going to come in for 8. That's to be expected. They still have 83. Let's maybe just pass here and see what they do. If they try to go for like a Tekla Foundry Heart activation, I might be more inclined to kind of pop off on this hand. Let's Kano first and see what there is to see off this, I think. All right, we get an overflow, which is quite good. So if they are paying 3 into AB, we send functionally 5 off Wildfire. If the best case scenario, they have a blue in hand, so they pay AB3. We take 2 off the Wildfire. Then we get to come in with overflow, or I guess they're going to take 3 off the Wildfire from Kindle, right? So I think they're probably dead, or at least pretty close to it. Should we maybe see what there is to see off one more Kano? Can we afford to do that? I think no, not yet, right? We need to do this stuff first. So let's just go for it here. I think it's fine. So let's Crucible first, I think. All right, let the Crucible resolve. Let's Stormstriders, let that resolve. Then we'll Wildfire and then Kindle in response. I find a red Floodgates, which is not necessarily ideal, but it's probably salvageable here. So we come in for 3 in best case scenario. All right, so we're coming in for 4, which is very good for us as well. So we did draw a red here, which is like a little bit unfortunate, but we're still probably going to get there. As we're going to get 4 resources here, and then we can just Kano one more time. Top of the deck is Kindle, so unfortunately we're not able to kill here. Sucks a little bit. But we could still probably kill them on their turn somehow. I wonder if we're actually just supposed to block with this. Because, like, arsenaling it doesn't do anything. Yeah, maybe we just block with this instead. So, unfortunately, here we bricked off Kindle, but Kindle is actually kind of fine because I think next turn we might be able to use it to pretty good effect if we can, like, pump over just barely for lethal. I think this is okay. Not ideal, but, like, we can Kano, maybe activate Crucible or something. All right, Heist coming in. What do they got in Banish? They got a red boom grenade. It's a little bit concerning. But we're not blocking here, right? If we do block, do we live? So they have... I wonder if we can actually afford to block here. Because if we don't let this hit, what are they realistically doing? If they have 2 0-60s, then I guess we die. But, like, what can they have from hand that does 8 damage necessarily? I don't know if there is much. Is it safe to actually not take this? Like, do we die? I don't know if we do. But maybe we should just not risk it anyways. Let's maybe pass and then see what they do after this. I think we can afford to let this hit. Because, like, if they come in with something else and they're taking resources off the hand, we might just need to go for the kill here. But I'm curious to see if we could have lived if we were to just block 6 on this and then just, like, maybe set up Clarity Potion, Arsenal Kindle, pass. I think that was definitely also maybe a valid line. I'm just wondering, like, what their realistic kill range is. Like, could they theoretically deal 8 off of this? I think they could, maybe with, like, Activate Foundry Heart, Zipper Hit, plus something. So maybe it's still a little risky to try to go for blocks here. All right, coming in for 2. So we don't really care about 2. They have 1 more action point after this. So I think we're just going to go ahead and take this. And now they have to do something else to try to kill us here. If they don't do anything else, then we can obviously just kind of respond to it. Or if they don't do anything else, we can just pass and then try to set up on our turn. If they want to just pass here, I think I'm, like, kind of okay with that. Yeah, I'm more than happy to just let them not do anything here. Because now what we can do is we can, like, fish off the top with Kano and then just send 4, and there's probably not going to be a way for them to deal with it. Lesson, I guess, also works. So I think we'll just pump Lesson. I mean, I think they're just dead here regardless. We could also Kindle this and maybe just fish for another card. It's probably fine. Feels a little bit weird to do a Kindle on our turn, but it's probably like sufficient here. And yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to pay into it. So we barely got there. We did brick on Kindle for what it's worth, but I think we did navigate that for the most part correct. And in terms of like, we found Wildfire super early, so that I think is kind of one of the keys to this matchup. Like, it's just finding Wildfire as soon as possible and not letting them have the time to set up. We'll give them a good game. But yeah, I think that for the most part we played that right. Again, I'm still like quite rusty at Kano, so I'm not like the best Kano in the world. But I think that for the most part we executed these games like pretty well. I think. Definitely not to the level of like a Kano master like Blazing for Lethal or Tegan, but I think I kind of got the feel for it a little bit. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. So this is my kind of butchered attempt at playing Kano. I think there's still a lot to learn with this deck. If I want to maybe take it to a Proquest, I'm not entirely sure if I'm comfortable enough to do it yet. So maybe not. We'll see. I think this is definitely a deck that's pretty well positioned right now, though. I think your biggest tough matchups are maybe like Aurora and like some of the other kind of like faster decks. But for the most part, I think this deck does prey on slow decks like pretty well, and a lot of people are just not teching for Kano. And also Prism is obviously a concern as well. So that's maybe my only hesitation with bringing this deck is that like Prism I think does get a lot better after Enigma and Zen leave, because I think those are actually two pretty not great matchups, to be honest. But yeah, this is definitely a deck I'm considering bringing. I think there's a lot of solid stuff going on here, and the core game plan is just so very strong, especially into opponents who are not necessarily kind of teched for it. So thank you all for watching my kind of like butchered attempt at Kano. I think that there are a lot better Kanos out there in the community, but I'm happy to kind of at least give it a shot on the channel as well, because I know that, it's fun to kind of like watch some variety of decks. So I think that this is definitely a deck that I'm considering maybe picking up at some point in the future. Maybe we'll play some more games with it, and yeah, maybe we might even end up taking this to a Proquest as well. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.